Hi everyone, welcome back to Math Girl Tutor. In this lesson, we're going to solve equations with fractions step by step. If fractions have been making algebra feel harder, this video will help you see the pattern. A lot of students see fractions in an equation and immediately feel stuck. But the good news is that the basic algebra has not changed. Our main goal is to clear the fractions first, whenever possible, and then solve the equation like normal. Once the fractions are out of the way, the problem usually becomes much easier. This slide shows the most important tool in the whole lesson, the LCD, or least common denominator, or least common multiplier. The idea is simple. Multiply both sides for every term in the equation by the LCD that clears the denominators and removes the fractions, so you can work with a much cleaner equation. Let's start with the simplest kind. X over 3 equals 5. Since the denominator is 3, I multiply both sides by 3. On the left side, the 3 cancels the denominator, so I'm left with x. On the right, 5 times 3 is 15, so the answer is x equals 15. Now, let's look at an equation with both a fraction and a constant. X over 4 plus 2 equals 6. Here I do not multiply everything by 4 right away in this example. First, I can strip away the plus 2 by subtracting 2 from both sides. That gives me x over 4 equals 4. Then I multiply both sides by 4, and I get x equals 16. This is a great reminder that sometimes you can solve step by step before clearing the fraction. Now we have multiple fractions. So this is where the LCD rule really becomes important. On the left example, x over 2 plus 1 over 2 equals 7 over 2. Since the denominators are 2, I multiply every term by 2. That gives me x plus 1 equals 7, and then subtracting 1 gives x equals 6. On the right example, x over 3 minus 2 over 3 equals 4 over 3. Since all the denominators are 3, I multiply every term by 3. That gives me x minus 2 equals 4, and then adding 2 gives x equals 6. The big idea here is, when there are multiple fractions, multiply every term by the common denominator. These are the biggest mistakes to avoid. Only one is multiplying one part of the equation instead of every term. Another is forgetting the plain numbers and only focusing on the fractions. Sign mistakes can happen also really easily, especially with subtraction. And finally, don't skip simplifying. The cleaner your equation is, the easier it is to solve. Here's the process in full order. First, find the LCD. Second, multiply every term by the LCD. Third, rewrite the clean equation after the fractions are cleared. And fourth, solve like normal using regular algebra steps. If you follow those same 4 steps every time, fraction equations become a lot less intimidating. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and try these 4 equations on your own. As you work, remember the checklist. Find the LCD, multiply every term, rewrite the equation, and then solve like normal. Let's check the answers. For the first equation, x equals 15. For the second, x equals 10. For the third, x equals 20. And for the fourth, x equals 6. If one of yours was wrong, go back and check whether you multiplied every term correctly and whether you kept the signs right. Awesome work. Remember, the big takeaway from this lesson is simple. Multiply by the LCD, clear the fractions, and then solve like normal. Fractions may look harder at first, but once you remove them, the equation usually becomes much more manageable. If you want extra practice, I linked my free workbook, website, and other platforms below. And if this video helped, like, subscribe, and comment for more step-by-step math lessons.